I apologize for the technical difficulties that are currently being experienced on Brackets, Bubbles, and Bistioers. I am Sam Fetterman. This is Pat Dallahan, and this is Jonathan Lidskin. How are you guys doing tonight?
Can't complain, Sam. Can't complain.
What was that? I couldn't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
It was me. I had the thing muted.
Oh, you are just being a fraud tonight, aren't you?
Hey. We have also apologized for starting an hour later.
Hold on. There is really bad wait, no, never mind. That was my side. Yeah.
We also apologize for starting an hour later than initially planned due to the overtime of Gorham versus Wyndham main high school basketball.
Why are we apologizing
for a state that none of us live in, a league that none of us have ever lived in, but we are obsessed with high school basketball, so...
Yeah, I mean, I had nothing to do with this.
Shout out Wyndham for winning the gold ball state championship.
No free pizza for Gorham. Sorry, guys.
No pizza for Gorham. Difficult finish to an outstanding Ram season. Now, none of us should care. But obviously, shout out Thomas Curtis for the reason why I do. I apologize for the technical difficulties on the interview. I hope it'll be able to work now.
Yeah, see, like that part I could kind of hear.
I couldn't hear any of it.
Want to welcome in Coach of Belmont, Casey Alexander, to the podcast. Coach, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, glad to do it. Thanks for asking.
All right, I want to get right into this. I know you are super busy. You guys haven't been in the Missouri Valley for that long, just your second year in the league. Not so much comparing it to the Ohio Valley, but what are some of the challenges of playing in the Missouri Valley night in and night out?
Yeah, well, it's just a better league, simply put. I think all the metrics would indicate that. It's not just personal opinion. OVC was a great spot for us for 10 years, but we've enjoyed our short stay in the Missouri Valley so far. But it has been much more difficult. You know, the league is constructed differently as far as, I think there's a high number of defensive-oriented, defensive-minded coaches and style of play in this league, which is, in my opinion, unusual across the board. I don't think there are that many schools in the country that fit that description, but the Valley is full of those kinds of teams, which means rosters are constructed differently, which means the style is different, which means the officiating is different, so it's a lot different.
And how do you think your style of play has kind of translated over from the Ohio Valley? Have you had to change your identity a little bit, or are you just trying to drill in the same points?
Yeah, I think we're offensively, we're a lot the same as we always have been. Things do not come as easily. You know, we are traditionally a pretty high tempo team, and we still are on that end of the floor, and we're still doing largely what we've always done and playing the same way. Defensively, we've had to become a lot tougher, become a lot more physical. Things like that. So that it's more of a conversation in our scouting reports and in our practices than it ever was before.
Yeah, Coach, since we're on the topic of kind of like roster construction and identity, we're in this new age of college basketball where you have the portal, you have NIL, and you guys added Malik Dia into your program this offseason. But you've also been kind of known for kind of these homegrown players that you've developed internally. You've sent multiple players to the NBA. In this new age of college basketball, how important is it to kind of sort of find that balance between adding transfers and then also continuing to emphasize internal development?
Yeah, we have to do both. We can't bury our head in the sand and say we're not going to learn and adapt with the times, of course. That would be foolish. But we also, I think Belmont's had great success over the years doing it the way that we do it. And so as close as we can stay to that model, the better. The changes with the portal challenges our model significantly. You've already mentioned, and you're absolutely correct. Our success has largely come because we've had guys in the program for 4 or 5 years because we used to redshirt a lot of players, and those guys have developed, and their culture carries over from one season to the next. And so as much as we can maintain that, the better. So, for example, like we still are always going to replace our seniors with an incoming freshman class. We're very committed to that. We're trying to get the best freshmen that we can every season. But when we lose players to the portal, then we have to replace them from the portal. Otherwise, we'd be freshman and sophomore JUCO team every season.
Yeah, and what would you say is kind of the most important aspect of this team's ability to develop so well internally? I mean, obviously with the way Cade Tyson has developed this year, and with Jacoby Gillespie as well, just how does this program instill in the players just the ability to get better?
Yeah, I put it this way, and I've said this a lot about Belmont. I mean, I think it's true across the board. I mean, I think winning begets winning. It's hard to learn how to win and to be a winning program. And you can look at all levels and see the teams that are consistently winning, even though they have new faces or maybe even new coaches. So I think that sustains us as much as anything. And so in those dark moments or in those losing streaks or tough road trips or things like that, we're consistently talking about just staying committed to who we are. This is our formula for winning. These are the things we need to get better. And there's a little bit more of a belief, and so, and so when you have guys like Cade and Jacoby that you mentioned, who are your best players, and they are owning that message as well and leading with that message in mind, it just makes those turnarounds a little bit better. It is harder. We've had more turnover. We've lost 10 guys to graduation in the last 2 years. So that's kind of a normal circumstance. And then you throw some transfers in there. We've had an unusually high number of new faces in our program the last 2 years. And it hasn't been easy, but that's how we've tried to overcome that.
Yeah, kind of on that topic, you mentioned some of the things you guys talk about when times are tough, when you're turning things around, but you guys have won now 6 out of 7 down the stretch here, and 5 of those wins have been by double digits. Can you talk about some of the keys to turning it around? Is it more continuity, kind of? Well, what's been going on, because you guys are playing as well as you have all year?
We got an easy answer. Jacoby Gillespie missed 8 games, and when he came back, we got a lot better. That's the simple truth. And it is also a little bit coincidental, ironic, whatever you want to call it. But our first half of the Missouri Valley schedule, it was front loaded quite a bit, and I felt like our toughest games were early. We played Indiana State twice in the first half. We played Bradley early. We played Drake early. So we've had a little more favorable schedule that coincides with Jacoby Gillespie being back, and so things have clicked kind of at the right time for us. Nothing magical about anything I've done. It's just worked out that way.
And what do you think it is about Jacoby that just makes him so impactful and so important for this team? I mean, obviously he's a great player, but like what specifically do you guys harp on that you felt you were missing without him?
Well, he makes the most plays on both ends, and so on the defensive end, he's the guy that's most likely to get a deflection or a gap steal or track down a rebound that turns into a transition basket, those kinds of things, just big plays. And then offensively, it's really the same thing. He's got a unique ability to get the ball to the rim. He's also really the passer. He's just a playmaker. So he relieves the burden for everybody else by the things that he can do on his own.
Yeah, I know we've talked a lot about kind of your guys that are making a ton of impacts this year, and Cade and Jacoby, but you guys are still relatively young. You're starting 3 sophomores. You got more underclassmen off the bench. How important is it that you have 2 guys like Keyshawn Davidson and Jace Willingham that kind of are your senior leaders? Maybe not to say that your younger guys aren't leaders, but just that you have those upperclassmen on your team.
Yeah, it's been huge. Both of those guys are transfers. Jace is a Division II. Willingham's a Division II transfer that's in his 6th season, and then Keyshawn's a transfer from Tennessee Tech. It's in his 5th season, and so their age, their experience, kind of their know-how has been really important for our team. They've both been good players. They've both played their roles extremely well, but it's having some experience on our roster has been really, really important. We have no juniors, so I mean we've got to be down there at the bottom as far as juniors and seniors. I mean, we have 2 seniors, no juniors. That's pretty young these days, especially in the COVID era that we're still dealing with.
coming up on obviously the Missouri Valley Tournament Arch Madness, you guys lost in a heartbreaker last year against Indiana State. What did you learn from your first experience in Arch Madness that you guys are going to take this year and potentially go on a deeper run?
Yeah, I'll say this. I learned. I mean, it's an awesome environment. It's an awesome experience. I think the tournament is everything that it's cracked up to be, and that's the reason why it's, I think, behind the Big East is the second longest running tournament in the same location in St. Louis, and so it was really a lot of fun. And I think most tournament games, regardless of level, league, location, are going to be kind of grinded out. They're going to let you play. It's kind of a king of the hill moment. And so we just got to be a little bit more ready for that this go around. It's a tough task for sure. Regardless of seed, it's a tough bracket to get through, but it's doable. Thank goodness.
And obviously, last year coming against Indiana State, who has been the talk of the league this year. I mean, what do you, from a coach's perspective, what has just made Indiana State just be so impressive on the offensive end, and what makes them hard to play against?
Yeah, multiple things. I mean, Josh Schertz is a really smart, committed, offensive-minded coach. I mean, he did that at the Division II level for a long time. He does a great job of assembling his roster and having the right pieces in the right places. They don't have a lot of depth, but it seems to me that their roles are very well defined, and more so than being defined, his players seem to really own those roles and take a lot of pride in how all those pieces fit together. I mean, they got good players, so you put all that together and it makes it pretty large nightmare to try to match up with.
Coach, back to the conference tournament real quick. That's one of the rare occurrences where if you keep winning, you're playing the next day. You're playing on these one-day scouts. What are some of the challenges on playing on one-day scouts versus a regular season schedule where you got 3 or 4 days in between every game?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely challenges, but we've played, everybody twice, with the exception of Bradley and Evansville. Will only be once. Play Evansville on Sunday, so if we see them in the tournament, that'll be a quick turnaround. That'll be quite a challenge. But I think it's more of the physical, mental challenge of turning around and playing the next day than it is, having to get ready and prepare, for a scouting report and so forth. By the time you've played 30 plus games and you've already played most of these teams twice, there's not a lot of surprises, so you ought to be able to quickly get back into it. Here's how we guard this. Here's what we're going to do on this, get yourself ready to play.
Coach, one last thing.
I'll also say this about that. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I do think that's also where some experience comes in. The older your team is, the easier it is to, handle surprises that might come in the tournament, or recognize an action or a play or a set, and this is how we guard it. So that's one thing that young teams are going to struggle with more than old teams.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point, because I remember last year Brian Wardle talking about in a couple of their press conferences how they recognized, they had older players that were able to recognize right away what other teams were doing. And of course, they were in 2 battles with Northern Iowa and Indiana State last year in their first 2 games there. So that's actually a really good point.
Coach, one last thing before we let you go. Belmont, fill in the blank. Belmont will win the Missouri Valley tournament if
we defend. I trust our offense. I think our offensive numbers are, by and large, we find a way to get it done on that end of the floor. And games where we've been good defensively, we've won the vast majority of those games. And the games where we haven't, we have not won very many at all. So it literally, in my opinion, comes down to that end of the floor.
Coach, thanks so much for joining us today. Good luck this weekend, and then good luck next weekend in St. Louis.
I enjoyed it. I appreciate you guys.
Season 4, episode 50 of Brackets, Bubbles, and Bid Steelers. I am Sam Fetterman. That below me, let me change this.
sorry, Pat, you're getting demoted.
That is Jonathan Linskin. That below me, no.
Yeah, you got
Callahan.
Yeah.
That shot did not go in.
That does not count as a shot made.
So, The first thing I want to discuss, Jonathan, you sent this in the group chat. Bring it up.
What I said in the group chat?
Yeah.
My last text was can't hear the interview, Sam. What did I bring up in the group chat?
You sent it.
Is it the tweet from Nico?
Yes,
The tweet, yeah.
9:27.
Okay. So Nico, who
Friend of
very
the show.
much a friend of the program, Nico, tweeted
Not just
tonight,
a friend of the program, a former Brackets, Bubbles, and Bid Stealers
True.
co-host.
True.
The initial Brackets, Bubbles, and Bid Stealers co-host, actually.
He said on Twitter today, he asked, if you counted every shot you've made on a basketball hoop in your entire life, how many career points do you think you have? And I thought it was an interesting question. Obviously, completely not measurable at all.
I mean, technically, it's measurable.
It's
Shots
it's interesting
made
to try to
on
guess.
brackets, bubbles, and bid stealers. Ready? It's gonna be 1.
Does this count as 1 or 2?
That's 1.
Free
It's
throw.
1.
We're counting it as 1.
2. Oh, okay.
Oh,
I missed the third.
Jesus.
I missed the
Sam,
third.
you look like fucking 21,
There's
22
a reason
Caleb
we're
Love.
podcast- There we go.
POV.
There's a reason- There's a
RJ
reason
Davis
we're
taking out-
podcasters and not athletes.
I went 2 for 3 first off, and Sam is
I
shooting
went
like
1 for
Caleb
3,
Love.
so.
Sam's shooting like Caleb Love at the end of Baylor. You and not Caleb Love. RJ Davis.
All right, that's better.
So,
You compare me to Caleb Love, you're getting the boot. You think we were gonna let this man contribute on our website?
unbelievable. So,
I don't care that you misspoke. You compared me to my least favorite player in college basketball.
so
Not even not just college basketball, in college basketball history.
I took a little small
You're
sample
in
size.
timeout, Pat.
He gets 5 minutes. I took a little sample size from this past summer just to like try to figure this out. This past summer is the most I've ever probably played basketball consistently in like a 3-month stretch, or at least an extended period of time. From my calculations, just from like the because I did like basketball workouts like 4 or 5 times a week this summer.
Okay.
Just from my calculations, I scored in those basketball workouts close to 7,000 points this summer.
Oh wow.
And there's legit math behind that. This isn't just me guessing. So 7,000 points is a lot.
I don't think I've scored. I don't think I've scored 7,000 points in the last 5 years. Not me. Sorry,
Honestly-
like, I quit basketball in 7th grade. I don't think I've scored 7,000 points since I quit basketball.
So based off just that, I would guess that I have scored somewhere between 150 and 200,000 points.
I would say that's probably a fair tally. I'm probably somewhere up there as well because I used to spend hours in my basement with 6-foot hoops.
Like, I don't think people realize when they're answering this question how many times you just like randomly take shots. Like,
I had 2 6-foot hoops in my basement since I was 4 years old.
did Nico answer whether it had to count on 10 feet or no?
I texted him. He said no.
So, like, pool basketball also counts.
Yeah, theoretically.
Because, like, I'd go to Arizona and to visit my grandparents, and they had a pool and a basketball hoop that we played on in their pool. I'm going to guess I probably scored, like, 500 points every trip on that hoop.
250 baskets per trip.
Threes count too, obviously. We hit a decent amount of threes.
What was the 3-point line?
I think we had to be like further than like a certain step entering the pool.
I don't think you can self-institute a 3-point line if there's no line painted.
Okay.
Now, the line in my
telling-
basement is like.
I'm still telling you I probably made like 250 shots a trip.
All right, I would say if I had to guess, I scored 135,000 to 150,000 points in my life.
Should we get
Actually,
Pat
probably a
on
little
here?
more. You are on thin ice, buddy. You are on the thinnest
Okay.
ice possible. You
Okay,
played hockey for a decade. You should know how thin the ice gets.
Okay. My answer, I would.
Dude, enough. All right, get him on. I actually want to hear his answer.
I
So,
own you.
I told Sam to keep you on because I wanted to hear your answer.
No.
Yeah, I heard.
I
Yeah.
just did that for fun, if I'm being honest.
So I would have one at school during a free period. You could go do whatever you want, and I would always go shoot. So for I did 5
Computer
years
down,
of high
man. Like
school.
you were like juggling.
It's on my lap. I don't like have a desk. It's weird.
Find one.
I don't. I'm not going to argue because I am on thin ice.
You're not going to argue, but you're not going to do it either.
I don't have a desk, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Find one.
Anyways, I'm gonna give my answer. I would have at least one free period a day for 5 years. I know Sam and I were talking about repeating in high school. I repeated in high school. And each
also
one would be
peaked in high
55
school.
minutes. Huh?
You also peaked
I
in
did
high
not peak in high school. I did
You
not
peaked in high school. You can't call ESPN
I
Plus
did not
games
peak
for
in-
4 years. You absolutely peaked in high school.
That's a school rule, man. I can't control
Yeah,
that.
and you chose to go there. That's the sign of someone
I
who
didn't
peaked
know
in
the
high
rule.
school.
I didn't know that was a rule. Why are you coming at my neck right now, man?
Because you called me Caleb Love.
I misspoke. I meant to say
I don't
RJ
care. You
Davis
still called
at
me
the end of
Caleb
Baylor.
Love.
Jesus, man. Get over yourself. Anyways, so I would have at least one free period a day for 5 years. Senior year, I had 2, and I would always shoot around in those free periods. So I have zero idea how many shots that was over 5 years. Probably like 10,000 shots that I shot. Maybe more. And that's not even counting middle school, just going outside in the driveway, going in the pool. So if I had to guess how many points I had, Jonathan, what was your estimate?
Somewhere between 150 and 200,000.
Yeah, I'd say I'm somewhere like 120, maybe. That's on like the high side. Because I managed our high school basketball team. I would go to rec basketball every like
All right,
winter
we're
and
gonna
go
have
play
to have
around.
Pat pay attention to the bottom of the ticker.
I mean, in almost every single sport, in every sport, fundamentally untrue.
I mean, I don't know if it's
Fundamentally
true. I
untrue.
just looked up who Avon Oak Park's biggest rival is.
I mean, we've won 32 league championships in baseball to there. I actually did find a solid surface that I can use. 32 league championships to their 0 in baseball.
Okay,
9 New England championships.
That's honestly sad. You should spot them a few of yours. You don't need all of them.
I mean, no. When we had George Springer for 3 years, we went on a little bit of a run there. We had at least actually this isn't basketball related. Let's not talk about it.
This is
Not
the
basketball
podcast
related.
where we talk about Tyler Self's employment. We've gone way further than that. It's not an invitation for you to keep going, by the way.
No,
Because you are on
I know.
thin
But
ice.
I stopped it.
By the way, we are 26 minutes into this podcast. We are 26 minutes into this podcast. And we have gotten nothing done except for play an interview. And there are still 6 people watching this.
Let's talk college.
If you've made it through this, like, we appreciate it.
If you've made it through all of this, you must be entitled to some sort of compensation. Not financial. Not financial. Do not quote me.
Free pizza.
I was about to say,
No, it's not the free pizza. I made a basket, by the way. I'm up to 137,428 points for my lifetime.
I was about to say maybe the compensation can be some of the Dennis Gates buyout that every Mizzou fan seems to think they're paying?
$25 million.
Yeah, I think it might be 25 and a half.
What's going on with that? I saw you
They
tweeted about
suck.
that. Why?
That's what's going-
I know they. No. I know they suck.
Get a mic.
But he's got a couple more years.
Get a mic.
I can't do anything with this guy anymore.
You're getting
Exactly.
right
Yeah.
now.
Gorham losing must have put me in a mood. I don't even go there. I don't even care.
Pat, to answer your question, Mizzou fans want Dennis Gates fired, and his buyout's $25.5 million. They're not paying $25.5 million to buy out a basketball coach, nor are they paying higher than $15 million to buy out.
They're not. I'm not sure they're paying $25 million to fire a football coach.
Chris Holtman's buyout was what, $14 million?
14, and that was absurd.
Yeah, and that's new AD coming in, everyone knew it.
School is made of money.
Mizzou has money. They don't have Ohio State money.
Yeah.
Which is sad because they're in the SEC, but it's also not sad because Ohio State's Ohio State.
Right.
Anyway, we got a bunch of mid-major conference tournament brackets that have come out. The Jerome. First week is due tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, is it time to break it down?
I think it is.
This is Brackets, Bubbles, and Bitch Stealers, the only college basketball podcast where we will talk about mid-major basketball so much that you will freak out. What is the account that does the brackets?
It's the Jerome. Wait, hold on.
Not the Jerome.
It's a new one.
Which account tweets out all the brackets?
I have no idea. I mean, I know you can just go on bball.nothing.net and find them.
Hold on. Well, there's the Field of 68.
How do you look in orange?
Do we use that though?
Did he check not tweet them out?
I don't know. Let's just use the Field of 68. There's nothing wrong with it. Great company, by the way. They do great coverage. It's just that it's just that sometimes it's they make themselves a big target. Let's put it that way.
Heard you will be getting sued.
Is your source Rob Topster?
Sam and I did that entire text thread on Instagram without fail. We got every single message right down to the punctuation. It was perfect.
No, I screwed up. I screwed up one of them.
Which one?
I don't remember, but as any good performer does. Can you read any of that?
Yes.
Yeah.
You can, I can't.
You want to find a different one?
I wonder how the bracket looks in orange.
Christ.
Maybe Heat Check has been tweeting him out. Can I get a Heat Check? This is the worst pod we've ever done, and it's not even close. And we started it with an interview of the head coach. All right, let's just figure this out. We're not even going to put the brackets up because we're going to assume you know what they are. If you're watching Brackets, Bubbles, and Bit Stealers, you've already seen all the brackets. Let's be honest here.
Yeah, I don't doubt that.
I apologize to anybody and everybody that is listening to this after the fact, because you don't deserve this. You are a hero and you do not deserve to. Let's get right into this.
I agree.
Jonathan.
Yeah.
I have a take about the A-Sun.
Do you?
I think Austin P is going to win it.
I was kind of thinking that too. I don't know if I'll end up picking them, but they're certainly my second choice.
I was texting with Nick, who is obviously in the league.
Yeah.
And I was like, look, I'm telling you, I think Eastern Kentucky is good, but I think Austin P is the most talented team in that league. and Austin P just lost to them. Sorry, Austin P just beat them. Austin P has won 7 of 8. Their only loss is against Lipscomb, who's one of the best teams in the league. They had a home game against North Florida on Tuesday. In their last game against North Florida, they won in double overtime. So I think they can do that. Austin P went 9-22 this year. They've won 17 games this year. Remember, we were ready to go like up on 20 on that over-under.
Yeah.
This is a legit good basketball team that had a rough start to the season. I believe that their offense is one of the best in this conference. It is, in fact, the number 2 offense in the conference. They have maybe 2 of the 3 best players in the okay, probably not 2 of the 3. They definitely have 2 of the 10 or 15 best players in this conference in DeMarcus Sharp and Jamonte Black. Even though Black kind of has been a little inconsistent this year and he's struggling a little bit right now, I still think he's a stud. And obviously DeMarcus Sharp is one of the best players in the conference now that he's back from injury. They've been working him back. He played the last 2 games. Cy Witt has really broken out. Desi Jones is a stud who's been really good when DeMarcus Sharp was out. And they did a lot of that winning when DeMarcus Sharp was injured. So now that he's back, they're even more dangerous. I think Austin P, with Corey Gibson at the helm, is going to take home the A-Sun Championship. Make the NCAA tournament for the first time since, Jonathan, do you know?
2012, 2011?
2016, when their head coach was Dave Luce. They had, let's see if you remember any of these names, Josh Robinson, Chris Horton, Khalil Davis, Kenny Jones, and Jared Savage.
Nothing ringing a bell. Was that when they were in the OVC, weren't they?
Yeah, and they lost by 30. They lost by 25 to Kansas that year.
I actually knew that they played Kansas that year.
Nice.
Weirdly.
Do you know?
I don't know. I still think I want to take.
Pat, don't answer. Jonathan, do you know who Kansas played in the second round?
I actually don't think I know this.
Pat, answer.
So UConn?
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was.
That's why I said Pat, don't answer.
Yeah.
I remember that game. I was actually playing golf before that game started. I think during the first half of that game.
Yeah, I was on spring break for that game.
I wasn't committed. Yet.
Was it close?
We led in the first half. Now, we were down 25 at the end of the first half. We only lost.
Was that the last? That was the last
Kansas
year they made the tournament with Ollie?
Yeah,
that was.
Because their next 3 years under Ollie. Do you know how many games they won in their next 3 years under Ollie?
Not many.
Sorry, their next 2 years under Ollie.
Because the 2017 was the Jalen Adams buzzer beater against
Cincinnati. No, that was 2016.
Yeah. Was it?
Yeah, that's 2016. I was packing for camp. They needed it in order to make the NCAA tournament. They then beat a really solid Temple team that was like 14. Oh, come on, you weren't a Temple fan.
No, I wasn't. But in retrospect, I would have loved to have that now.
Why? What do you gain from it?
Not watching a second to last team in the American Conference.
No, but they didn't go for. But they still. Oh, I'm talking about I'm talking about the fact that they won that. Like if they won that particular game.
Yeah.
I still think I'm going to take Eastern Kentucky here. They're rim protection with Cozart.
This has been a terrible podcast. Oh my god.
No, but
rim protection with Cozart's so good.
I mean, yeah, Zay Cozart is the best rim protector in college basketball in terms of blocks per game.
Yeah, I mean, best 2-point defense in the conference. It's not even really.
Yeah, I mean, like they had like an unsustainably bad 3-point defense in non-conference play. Like even like 7 games into conference play, they were still 362 in 3-point defense, even though they were first in the conference.
This is also a league that reseeds, by the way. So like, they could Austin P and Eastern Kentucky could theoretically not meet until the championship if things go their way.
All right, so Pat.
Yeah, I just picked Eastern Kentucky purely because I just think they're the best team in the league analytically. the gap between their offense and defense isn't that bad. I mean, you look at Austin P, second in the conference in offense according to Ken Palm, but then you look at their defense and you see that they're sitting in dead last, and I just don't love that from winning games in a postseason scenario. They're going to put up a lot of points. They're going to outscore their opponents, but whether they're able to stop their opponents from scoring is an entirely different conversation. Jonathan mentioned that Eastern Kentucky has some of the best interior defense in the conference, if not the best. So that matters to me coming down the stretch. So I'm going to go with Eastern Kentucky. It's the easy pick. It's the chalk pick in the ASUN, but I think it's the right one.
To the Sun Belt. Jonathan, I know you have a pretty strong take about this conference.
I wouldn't say it's a strong take about the conference.
Well, at one point it was a strong take.
About the conference overall?
No, about one of the teams in it.
Well, yeah, I was going to say. I mean, like, I still don't think James Madison is, like, particularly that great.
Well, remember, they were ranked in the top 25 for, like, 4 straight weeks. And then nobody has mentioned them since.
I'm aware. I mean, they didn't lose a non-conference game. In fact, they didn't lose a game until January 6th when they lost at Southern Miss.
Worst thing to happen.
I knew you were going to say that.
Worst thing to happen in Virginia. Worst thing to happen in Virginia on January 6th ever. Don't look it up. Don't look it up.
That wasn't necessarily. It wasn't Virginia. Worst thing to happen in the Virginia region.
Yeah, in the DMV.
Nope. Harrisonburg is not the DMV.
Ah.
The DMV is the DC Metro plus Baltimore Metro.
So
I always been told it was DC, Maryland, Virginia. Anyways, doesn't matter.
No,
I don't think James Madison is a bad team for that league at all. I don't think they're a bad mid-major team, but they never deserved to really be in the top 25. And I don't know who this is commenting that like James Madison's the clear winner of this conference, but they got swept by App State, who won the league.
Oh, it's a Temple account. Temple takeoff.
My take.
So I'm taking App State.
It's incredibly hard to beat the same team 3 times. Both of those games were.
I don't disagree.
But hold on, both of those games were very close. In the first game, James Madison came all the way back to make to take the lead and only lose by 4. In the second game, James Madison didn't lead very much, but it was only a 6-point game. It was close the whole way for most of it. And App State shot 40% from 3 in that game. James Madison is the number 2 3-point defense in the conference. I think, I think offensively, James Madison is underrated. I think people have maybe forgotten how good they are. For that reason,
I think those are all fair statements.
I'm going to take James Madison to win the Sun Belt tournament. They have. I don't think Troy is a huge challenge. I honestly would be a little bit more scared of Southern Miss. I think at their ceiling, they're really, really good. And that's nothing against Troy. Troy's really good, but they've kind of stumbled, lost twice to Arkansas State, who I think is pretty solid. But Southern Miss, like they've lost a bunch, but at their best, they can be really. Oh, is Austin Crawley out? If Austin Crawley is out, then never mind. Oh, and Donovan Ivory's out too. Yeah, never mind what I was saying about Southern Miss.
Yeah. I think Troy has been playing.
You commented on YouTube. This is on Twitter.
I'm logged in on YouTube, I think. I don't know how to fix it.
Pat, go. Who's winning?
I think, again, James Madison is marginally worse than App State on defense, but they're 3 spots higher on Ken Palm. And you mentioned that people are kind of forgetting how good they are because, everybody got so high on them in the non-conference. So
they're 28-3. They are 20. Well, if they're 28-3, that means they're probably going to blow it.
Yeah.
They're
But
28.
also to your point, it's really hard to beat the same team 3 times. That's a lot of tape you have on them after 2 games, and how they match your sets, how you match their sets. What do they try to go in certain situations? That's a lot of tape, and you can really get an understanding of their tendencies. Do what?
What?
Do you guys hear Narco, the Edwin Diaz song in the background?
No.
Someone's playing it down the hall. I feel like running out there like I'm Edwin Diaz.
We'll see. Someone's about to go blow a lead in the 9th inning.
No, nobody's going to stop you.
I mean, the fact that I'd locked the door and don't exactly know where my key is right now will.
Smart.
Anyways, it kind of goes back to the East Carolina thing, Austin P thing, but I think James Madison a little bit more balanced, and the fact that I just don't think that App State beats them 3 times in a single season. Like I just don't think that happens. It's hard to do, especially when they're as even as they are.
I think you guys both make good points.
Yeah.
Still rolling with my Mountaineers, baby.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad pick. You could honestly go either way. It just depends on what you value.
Now
You're
you
taking the defense more. Yeah, now you can really hear it. All right, Sam, do you want to go on to the next conference?
What is the next conference?
On the Jerome, it is...
No, not on the Jerome. On Field of 68. It's the Coastal Athletic Association. Do you guys see the bracket?
Sam knows who I'm going to pick. Sam knows who I'm going to pick.
Spell it. DAAAL. KAIS. The most famous basketball court in University City.
Yes. The Drexel Dragons, Zach Spiker. I really do think that they will win the conference.
What if this should they play the CAA tournament at Daskalakis?
Yes, and it would sell out. They should play the PCL final at the Daskalakis.
Yes,
Sam.
They should play the PCL final at Daskalakis. I'm clipping this and sending it to everybody in Philly.
Please don't. Please don't. I would lose all of my credibility among Philadelphia basketball people. Please don't.
I am.
If Aaron Bracey sees this, I'm cooked. I'm cooked. I'm finished.
Hey, don't disrespect the legend right there. Mr.
No,
hashtag 0304 St. Joe's book.
I'm not disrespecting him. He's tremendous for hashtag 0304 St. Joe's book. Have a great day today. Anyways, yeah, Drexel. I mean, their defense, the Zach Spiker special is their defense.
And where do they play?
The Daskalakis Center. But this year, coming into the year, I said on radio, I said on this show, what was going to be the difference was their offense. Last year, they were in the mid 200s, low 200s, or the high 200s of offense in the country. And this year, they've got that ranking down. They're 149. They're 149, which is a big improvement for them. In the past couple of years, they've really struggled on offense. And I think Amari Williams is as impactful a player to his team as you'll find in the Northeast. I mean, defensively, he is an awesome defender. Luke House is a microwave for Drexel. I mean, Justin Moore can't really shoot from outside, but as far as inside scoring goes, he's one of the best in the CAA. And I just think that their defense is too strong to falter in the CAA. Plus, they have the best home court advantage in maybe all of America at the Daskalakis Center.
Yeah, Daskalakis Athletic Center. How many times have you been?
I've actually only been once. I went for the Temple Drexel game.
More.
No, but the Temple Drexel game was the best environment that gym has seen in a really long time. It was awesome. Streamers after the first basket.
They sold out, I think, against Delaware this year.
They sold out against Temple too, and it was phenomenal. Temple won a game because Amari Williams missed a last-second layup. It was great.
It was half Temple fans, so it doesn't count.
It was still an awesome environment. Anyways, I'm going with the Dragons.
Yeah. Sam, are you taking Drexel too?
No.
No.
I'm not either.
If this game were played at University City's most famous arena, I would take Drexel, but it will not be played at University City's most famous arena. It will be played in Washington D.C.'s like 5th most famous arena. Do you even know where this is being played?
Yeah,
No
it's being
idea.
played at the Capital City Go-Go's arena.
Yes. You know what it's called?
I haven't a clue. Is that where the old train station used to be? Is that?
No
That's what
idea. It's called. Wait for this. Entertainment and Sports Arena.
Yep, that's awesome. That rocks.
Is that like a sponsor, or is that just like the name of it?
That's the name of
Entertainment
the arena.
720.
Dude, I don't know. I've never been to Washington, D.C.
Really?
Yeah, no, never have.
Actually, no, you're Chicago. You're a Chicago guy. That
You
makes
know where
sense.
he lives?
I haven't been to Northeast, like a lot of Northeast cities. Actually, I haven't been to any Northeast cities, like in general.
You've never
We
been
are
to New York?
getting you to next
I've
year.
never been to
next
New York.
year, no. Jonathan Lidskin is coming to the Daskalakis Center. We are getting him chicken tenders and fries at the Daskalakis Center
No,
in
we are
Philadelphia,
getting him
Pennsylvania.
a hoagie from Wawa across the street.
It's the street, yeah. The Wawa across the street. I saw
Oh.
somebody rob that Wawa when I was there. It was really
Are
funny.
you for real?
Yeah, well, here's the thing about Wawa.
I
You
need
can
play-by-play
steal
right now.
So it was this guy. He had 2 backpacks. So the way it works is you order a sandwich at the kiosk. It prints a receipt. You go
We've
scan
been to
it, and
Wawa.
it rings you up. I know. Well, Jonathan has it.
He's a loser.
Be nice.
Have you ever
Anyways,
had Portillo's?
so-
Actually, you have.
Yes, I have had Portillo's.
Anyways, they just
I am
didn't.
throwing out zingers today. They're not good zingers, but I am throwing them out.
But they just didn't like ring him up, and he still somehow, one way or another, got his chicken sandwich. So he takes it as he's stepping out. Somebody goes, "Hey, you gonna pay for that?" He goes, "No," and then he just walks away. Nobody bothers going after him. That's just how Wawa works.
That is
They
the
don't
most
stop you.
Wawa thing that I have ever
They
heard.
don't stop you. I always pay. I love my city and I love Wawa. I want the company to
Your
thrive,
city,
so I
you're
always
from
pay.
Connecticut.
Yeah, but it's where I live, where my family's from. Yeah, Temple Takeoff. That's Lucas. He commented, Wawa is known as walk away with anything. You can.
Next time I go to Wawa, I will walk. Oh shit!
Sam, they will not stop you. They don't care.
Well, okay. Is that only for Wawas in Philly? Can I do this on?
No, you could do this in the suburbs. You could
Okay,
do this
because
at the
I will
Wawas
be
in
going
Florida.
to Wawa in Atlantic City and around Atlantic City as I'm driving.
Okay, especially in AC. What? They're not going to think twice. The Sam Fetterman
Okay.
vlogs.
I mean,
the
on
Sam
the
Fetterman
drive
vlog.
to Atlantic City, somewhere on the Garden State Parkway.
The Sam Fetterman vlogs. Episode 1, someone is drunk. Episode 2,
not gonna
somebody
lie,
asked me for money.
Not gonna lie, this entire like Wawa conversation is like major them behavior.
Are you serious?
Like major them behavior.
You've never had Wawa, if that's your take.
You're right. I've never had
Wawa. Wawa is phenomenal. It's more than
life-changing,
just food.
honestly.
It's a cultural experience.
Dude,
That's what it is.
University City has a Wawa and a Cane's.
Is
I
that
don't know
like
why I didn't apply to Drexel.
Well, the Temple used to have a Wawa, but it closed because there was so much stealing that went on. Which is pretty on
But
par
there
with
was no
Temple.
Cane's. There's no Cane's there.
There is a Cane's. There is a Cane's.
At Temple?
Oh yes, there is. I go there all the
Really?
time. Yeah,
Where's the
18th
nearest
to
Wawa?
Montgomery. Probably the one at UC because the one in Temple was closed
Really?
recently. Yeah.
Damn. I guess
There
I'm
aren't
not
that many
transferred.
Wawa. There aren't that many Wawas in Philly. Anyways, we're way off the rails right now. But
Are we? This is the greatest show we've ever done. Jonathan,
Yeah.
what is your take on that type of fast food?
like
Gas station fast food, but like good gas.
is like from what I'm kind of gathering, like is Wawa like the Northeast Bucky's?
No.
Yeah, but there's not brisket. There's not like barbecue.
Bucky's is unique.
I went to
Bucky's is even more. Bucky's is even more of a cultural experience.
Do you know what Sheets
I'll
is?
say that.
No.
Sheets is fine. Sheets is. I'm actually gonna come out and say it. Yeah. Royal Farms. Royal Farms. You know Royal Farms?
Yeah, I know Cumberland Farms. I know Royal Farms.
Cumbies.
Two different.
Cumberland Farms is trash.
I
I
don't feel like
Cumberland Farms is mid. It's not trash.
It's
It's mid.
trash. No, it's garbage.
I don't feel like the Midwest has this stuff.
Really?
Like,
Which is shocking considering like
right,
the
like,
highways and stuff.
You would think that's the place that like definitely has like these like huge gas stations.
No, it's not huge. Wawa's not huge.
It's
It's
don't
like
know.
half the size of the CVS.
I went to Bucky's for the first time. I went to Bucky's for the first time when I went to the Georgia Mizzou game earlier this year.
Dude,
That was a cultural experience.
look up Wawa. You'll see what Wawa
Okay.
is. It's really good though. Like Wawa is an excellent place.
I guess I'll wait till Pat gets back to make my CAA pick. Here.
No, don't.
Okay, hold on.
I need to make mine. Mine is Charleston.
This looks pretty good.
Yeah. They've won a lot of games in a row.
There's a team that I think is really well coached that doesn't have a ton of depth, but they have two superstars that I'm picking to win the league, and I like their draw in this tournament too. I'm taking Hofstra.
Really?
Yeah, they were
my concern is winning 3 games in 3 days with essentially no bench.
Yeah, it's a little.
I mean, I don't think Khalil Farmer is great.
Yeah, I don't
think
I don't blame you for
Robinson
thinking that,
is ready right now with the way he's been playing recently. I kind of think he's been disappointing during conference play. I still think he's going to be a star in the future. Silas Sunday has grown, but they don't really play him a ton.
What's the slogan? Silas Sunday Saturday.
We are 6. We are just 7 days away. Assuming that you're listening to this after midnight tonight, we are 7 days away from the first Silas Sunday of the season. Pat, unmute yourself.
I did.
We both made our CAA picks while you're gone.
Did you both pick? I'm getting Sam picked Charleston. I know that.
Yeah, I did not pick
UNC,
Charleston. I picked Hofstra.
Speedy Claxton, like that pick.
11 wins of 13. 11 of 14.
I
was
like Wilmington a lot.
Dylan Brett, friend of the program.
I do like Wilmington a lot, but I have my doubts about them beating Towson, then Charleston, and then whoever comes out of that other side in consecutive games.
Drexel.
I was texting with Dylan Brett yesterday. He said, imagine telling me that in January my basketball team would win 11 of 13 games. And I was like, weren't they down at the half to Hampton? And he was like, yeah, by double digits. Do you know what Hampton finished in CAA?
No.
play?
Aren't they like awful?
They're 3-15. They're 336th in Ken Bomb. When I saw them in person, they lost 99-65 at
the Daskalakis Athletic Center.
The most famous arena that is across the street from Wawa.
Yes.
Also, just straight up the most famous arena. No notes.
Speaking of Philadelphia basketball arenas, R.I.P. Tom Gola Arena.
Oh my God.
1998 to 2024.
Tom Gola Arena was the previous most iconic venue in the country, but now it's Daskalakis.
I mean, what other arena in college basketball will you find with a neon LaSalle sign with the smoke machine under
probably
it?
Not any other arena is going to have a neon LaSalle sign, given that they're not LaSalle's arena.
I'll amend it. A neon sign with a smoke machine under it that was broken in more than half the time.
No, yeah, absolutely. Tom Gola Arena is the most iconic arena in all of college basketball.
Port
Daskalakis close behind.
Lucas, who's Temple Takeoff, who's commenting in the chat for Luke, he's not in on the joke.
It's not a joke.
The Daskalakis is great. It's an awesome place to catch a game. I actually haven't watched a game at Gola. I've been to a practice there. Joe Mihalik invited me.
It's not a joke, says the kid who told me the other day that the A10 tournament should be played at the Palestra.
Well, it should. Just because Daskalakis isn't big enough.
He's cooking. I see the vision. He's cooking.
Daskalakis isn't big enough. Wells Fargo is too big.
They should host every Philadelphia college basketball game at the Daskalakis
Yeah,
Center.
instead they play it at frickin' Barclays to please who exactly?
Well, now it's Boardwalk Hall, which is where the A10 used to play.
Good.
Yeah,
Boardwalk Hall is.
the A10 used to play their tournament in Atlantic City.
Yes, they did.
I'm sure that every St. Louis fan that went there really enjoyed that drive on the Atlantic City Expressway from Philly after their 2-hour flight. I'm sure that they really enjoyed that going.
Travis Ford enjoyed the other activities.
Well, Travis Ford wasn't the coach at the time.
True that. I wish Travis Ford would have loved Atlantic City.
Oh, yeah.
Tony Patelis would have some wild tweets about Travis Ford in Atlantic City.
Tony Patelis and he said, "Hey, I'm going to the back tournament." It was like 2:20 in the morning, and he's like, "God, I'm so drunk."
Just saw Travis Ford chugging Pennzoil outside of the Donald Trump Casino in Atlantic City.
Just saw Travis Ford at the Golden Nugget. He didn't have shoes on. We'll update.
Those are my favorite tweets ever. It's always someone new. Is Pete Gillen alive? Tony Patelis alive and well. He is incredible.
Do you know what his most recent one was?
What?
Just saw Kevin Stallings yelling at a trash can, drinking Boone's Farm outside of the Dollar Tree. Weird scene.
Let's hold on. There's some pretty funny ones. Just saw Penny Hardaway chugging Captain Morgan in front of a Panera Bread.
No, I got a better one. I got a better one.
Unhinged.
Just saw Penny Hardaway drinking from the gas pump at Sunoco.
Just saw a horrific car crash, and the first thing that popped into my head was the Atlantic 10. I mean, just saw Joe Lenardi drinking malt liquor outside of Costco. Looked a tad bit unhinged. Just saw Sean Miller at the Cheesecake Factory at the Polaris Mall in Columbus, Ohio. He ordered the fried macaroni and cheese. He was also sweating profusely.
Just saw Kenny Payne at Market Basket. Doesn't look happy.
Wait, he saw him at Market Basket?
Market Basket.
Market Basket.
Just saw Jay Young at Stop and Shop. Didn't seem friendly. Just saw Andy Katz at Hobby Lobby. Wasn't very friendly.
Just saw Juwan Howard talking to the soda fountain at McDonald's.
I'm surprised he didn't say trying to fight the soda machine.
Yeah, true. Just saw Tony Stubblefield drinking heavily at Olive Garden. Not a good
Just saw Rick Pitino stumble out of an after hours. Not sure he makes it to the game today.
Just saw Joe Lenardi panhandling in front of a Walmart. He wasn't wearing his toupee either. Like he just comes for people's necks.
Just saw Tony and Gillen at 99.
The only positive one is just saw Jay Wright at Whole Foods. That's it. There's no second sentence. It's just saying. It's just saying like that.
Just
he looks
saw
healthy.
Andy Enfield sleeping outside of Burger King, half-eaten burger and a bottle of McGillicuddy's by his feet. This is why Braxpos and Bit Steelers is the world's only Tony Patelis fan podcast.
True story. True story.
You know what we need to do now?
What do we need to do now?
Talk about the next conference.
CBI bracketology.
Now!
Okay.
Jonathan, say the line.
Father of Rob Tosser. Friend of Tom Green. CPI bracketologist.
If you don't know, that was Tony's bio for a while.
For a while.
Yeah,
and
now
a
it's
while.
that was like Jonathan and I would text that to each other like every day.
every day.
Well,
I sent it to him in Hebrew.
I tried to get a
The
bit going.
other day you texted me it in Chinese and I had to my response was I don't even need to put this into Google Translate.
I tried to get a Tom Crean bit going every time a college football job opened up. I only ended up doing for Alabama and Michigan, but I would just tweet like, Alabama should hire Tom Crean. I saw him at a Starbucks. Unironically, I saw him 2 days before the national championship. I saw Tom Crean at a Starbucks. I nearly told Tony. I should have told him, just saw Tom Crean at a Starbucks. He was fighting the barista.
Was he actually?
No, but he was there and I talked to him. It was awesome.
Nothing.
I'm sure he gets recognized all the time in Philly.
Nothing
No, it
will
was
beat,
in Connecticut because he lives around here because he works for ESPN.
Right.
Nothing will beat when
By the way, tremendous
Cole-
color commentator.
Oh yeah.
nothing will beat when Cole tweeted that Parrish was a candidate for the Alabama job.
And they opened with that.
And then like the best part of it, it was like they had to address it on like the next Eye on College
And
Basketball.
they opened
podcast.
it. They opened with it.
And Parrish was just like, "Yeah, I'm not leaving CBS Sports to go coach football."
Gary
Yeah.
Parrish is the man.
Yes.
He's
On
one of
College
us.
Basketball is our favorite podcast. We say this all the time.
Outside of this one,
Yeah,
They don't talk about Travis Ford drinking windshield wiper fluid outside of sheets.
outside of Boardwalk Hall.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we need to get to our next conference.
SoCon
The A10.
A10 tournament doesn't come out until next week.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
McNeese State. I feel like this is kind of a
What conference do you think we're talking about?
wait. No, Southern Conference and SoCon are not the same.
No, they are the same.
They are the same. The Southland and the SoCon are not.
Oh yeah, my bad. Samford. I got them twisted. It's Samford. It was always Samford.
We're gonna have to take him off for that.
Last
Yeah.
month,
Pat, you have to show me the magic word in not in the chat with your hand. Yes.
what did he do?
Exactly what he did, Jonathan.
I chucked the horns down.
Okay, good.
Actually, that was not what it was, but it should have been.
Yeah, it's Samford, right? It's got to be.
It's always been Samford.
Okay, it's always
That's
been the
not-
Bulldogs.
Sam, you know this. That's not the team I've been saying for the last month and a half. It's the best team in that league.
You said Furman, right?
I'm taking UNC Greensboro.
When have you talked about UNC Greensboro?
Dude, I've said after they beat what's it called? After they beat them, that I thought they were still the best team in that league.
I don't ever remember you talking about.
Or
UNC.
sorry, after they took out Western Carolina on the road.
Dude. That was over a month ago.
I'm aware, and that's when I said it.
They're 6-5 since then.
I don't care. I'm taking UNC Greensboro.
I love that. I love that cognitive dissonance. I respect that.
I like.
I'm a man
Samford.
of my word.
Respect.
I like Samford. I think they're the most talented in terms of just going deep into a bench. They have so many guys. They play so fast. It's just such a shock to play them on a one-day scout. I know that these teams have seen these teams, but it's going to be so difficult to play them on a one-day scout.
This is going to be one of the best mid-major tournaments, in my opinion.
Pat?
Yeah, Samford. Their offense is just way too fast for that.
A Brackets, Bubbles, and Bit Stealers co-host will be in attendance on Wednesday when a team appears in their first ever Division I conference tournament against last year's Cinderella darling of the entire country in East Syracuse as Lemoyne takes on FDU. I will be in attendance. Yes.
Fins up. Fins
Go
up.
Dolphins. Go Dolphins. You'll never hear me say that during the fall.
Or the Bills.
I don't talk. I've never said that. Like I like the Bills on here.
I know you're anti-Bills.
I'm anti Travis Ford. Once they hire somebody else, maybe I'll say that I like the Bills.
NEC. I feel like as a Connecticut native, it's only right that I pick. It's only right that I pick Central Connecticut, but I'm gonna go with Joe Gallagher, and the Merrimack.
You almost said Joe Gallagher.
I almost did.
Speaking of John Gallagher, that's a legend, another CT legend right there.
Yes, he is. Good friend of this show. I feel like
Friend of the program, John Gallagher.
He's a character.
If you've never sat in an interview with John Gallagher, man, you have not lived.
He spoke to my class last year.
Really? What class?
Yes. It was an intercession class. So it was only like a week long, and it was business of sports, and he came in. It was the day he got the Manhattan job. So as soon as he left the class, I looked at my phone.
That's crazy.
I looked at my phone. Manhattan hires John Gallagher. It was Rothstein. And I was like, oh my God, I could have had this scoop. And I didn't.
No one would have believed you.
Okay. I also got the.
What did he talk about to you?
It was Final Four week, and he was like, I think San Diego State matches up really well with UConn. They play with unmatched intensity. And his eyes were glued open. And he brought his son Jack. He brought his son Jack, who I was like his counselor at basketball camp for the last 4 years.
There's only one thing that he cares more about than basketball, and it's his
kids. It's Michaela. It's Michaela and Jack.
Yeah, and he's. I think that I'm not going to say this on air.
Yeah,
it's not about the kids. It's not about the kids.
I know what you're going to talk about.
Yeah.
Anyways, he is a nut, and Sam and I's shared friend Tex Detroyer asks him a question about how slower teams like Virginia always get beat.
Co-host of the Pulled Fly Ball
and former co-manager of the Avon Old Farmers football team with me, Tex Detroyer. He asked John Gallagher a question about how Virginia loses games because they play so slow, and Gal just goes like, "Look at me right now." He just goes. It just leans in so uncomfortably.
When Gal doesn't know what to say, when Gal doesn't know what to say, he pauses forever.
Yeah.
So Pete Janney asked him about the free throw discrepancy in a game earlier this year, and I was there. 46 seconds before he formulated an answer.
Did you time it?
Pete did.
And
because like he's trying to start an answer. I'll play it for you right now. I will.
He was wearing his green suit that day.
No, not that day.
No. I'm saying it the day he came to Avon. He was wearing his green suit.
The one that he wore against UConn?
Yes. He was wearing his green suit.
Remarkable.
He is the first time I had met him. The Phillies had just advanced to the NLCS. He was at my friend's house because he was good friends with their dad. And he kept trying to give me tickets. It's John Gallagher.
Here it is.
I think
it's one of the been head coach 13 years. It's one of the strangest things I've seen. But I will say this: the referees weren't the reason we lost.
Love this man.
It's we have to. I have to really watch the tape. So that's what I would say. I don't know how many fouls did they have.
They had 13 fouls.
Yep.
No notes. It's perfect.
He's insane.
All right. By the way,
I'm glad, by the way, that he took 46 seconds to come up with the officials weren't the reason we lost the game.
by the way,
That's just
we have not even talked a second about the NEC.
I was about to say, I'm with Pat on this one. I'm taking Merrimack.
Damn, I thought I was gonna. I thought there would be at least one person that didn't take Merrimack.
No,
so now they're not going to win.
Merrimack's clearly the best team in this league.
Yeah.
Haven't seen them in person. Saw Central in person 3 times.
Love them.
I'm going to be honest with you. Pat Sellers might
You
win
also saw Long Island in person. You're not picking them.
3 times. 3 times.
Wow. They're going to be late to the conference tournament. So
I saw Central in person 3 times. I think for any team that scouts them, they're going to be incredibly predictable. I think there's a chance they're out before the final.
Ooh.
Now, I think Merrimack's predictable too on the defensive end, but they've proven over and over again that they'll just beat you regardless. And I don't think they're as predictable on offense. I think Central knows what they want to get to late in games, and I think Lemoyne kind of cracked the code on how to stop it. I think Lemoyne could beat them, and I think FDU can beat them. I would be fairly surprised if Central won the league.
Yeah.
I think it's probably most likely Merrimack, maybe second most likely Sacred Heart.
I would agree with that. I'd say if it's chalk, the real championship is that second semifinal.
And that's nothing against Central. I think they're tremendous. I think they're really good, and I wouldn't be totally surprised. I would be a little surprised. But honestly, Wagner can beat Sacred Heart. I think the 3-6 game can go either way. The 4-5 can go either way. The 1-4 can go either way. I'm not too sure the 2-6 can, but the 2-3 can. By the way, did you see the Ohio Valley bracket? You know how it's structured, right? It's WCC pilled.
Yeah. Which is
And
like
Moorhead State.
I mean, if you're a fan of if you're just like a Champ Week sicko, you hate this. But like, it's what every mid-major league should be doing.
I'm a Champ Week sicko.
If every mid-major league,
I'm more than a Champ Week sicko. I am a fucking 365-day-a-year sicko.
Yeah, you are. It's
Hey! You
it's
are
not
too.
a bad thing.
You've had multiple conversations with Tony Stubblefield. You are too.
Yeah, but that's because I would see him over the summer and he would remember me from years past.
You didn't have to talk to him.
I wanted to talk to him. He's a good guy.
He's Tony Stubblefield.
If you're telling me, no. If you're telling me, no, Sam. If you're telling me that Tony Stubblefield walks into a room, remembers you, asks, "Hey, how you doing? Blah, 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 blah. Come have a seat with me. Like, let's catch up."
I'm not saying you shouldn't have done it. I'm just saying you had a conversation with him. You cannot say you're not a sicko.
I know I'm not a sicko, but I think there's levels to this.
You said you're not a sicko?
No, I am a sicko.
Okay,
I am a sicko.
That's it. We're good.
But you are like,
flash the sign, Pat. No, the first one. Yes. Do it on air. Everybody. Yes. Tremendous work. Anyway, to the Ohio Valley. Moorhead State did not get a top 2 seed, and I think Little Rock straight up the best team in this conference. Western Illinois is really good, though. I would pick Western if they were the 3 to come out of the bottom. I think they're better than UT Martin. But give me Little Rock. They are the best team in this league. They have been since whichever Mitchell twin is there got back. I always forget which Mitchell twin is
McKell.
McKell, yeah. They have Jalen Crocker Johnson and KK Robinson as well, who I really like.
I'm torn on this one. I'm really torn. Like, I still think Moorhead's really good, but
I'm not sure how good I think Moorhead is.
I mean, I want to. I will say this: if Moorhead was able to get the win at Assembly Hall, you could not talk me out of picking them.
Yes,
where?
you could. IU is trash.
Oh, at Assembly Hall, because there's like
If they had won at Indiana, you could not have talked me out of picking them. But Sam, I think I'll agree with you and take Little Rock here.
They should have won that game, by the way.
Yeah,
The
Little
Indiana
Rock
fans
absolutely rolling.
The Indiana fans are big fans of Sam Fetterman.
No, they
I
love
think
him.
we can all agree that High Point is going to win the Big South.
Yes.
You're definitive on that?
I'm quite certain. It's like I'd probably say it's like 45% they win, 30% Asheville, 25% somebody. No, 50%, 30%, 20%.
Yeah, I mean, I just remember you telling me, like, saying something a couple weeks ago. Like, for the record, I'm picking High Point too, but I just remember you saying something like a week or two ago about how you thought Asheville may be as good as them.
I then watched High Point again, and like it's not a gimmick. They're that good.
Yeah,
like they have 3 like legit potential high major guards in Duke Miles, high major caliber guards. Be very clear there. So I'm pissing anybody
No
off.
speculating.
No
Yeah.
speculating. We do not speculate on brackets, bubbles, and mid Steelers.
We don't.
High Point has 3 legit guards. If you consider Kamani Hamilton a guard, he's more of a wing forward. But it's Kamani Hamilton, Keza Jiffa, and Duke Miles, and they all have eligibility left. If they come back to High Point next year, I will have High Point as a preseason top 50 team.
Kamani Hamilton played one of the greatest halves of basketball ever.
Shout out Brian Wilmer, he was there.
Yeah. I mean, High Point's offense is.
Oh, and not to mention they got especially because they're probably going to bring back, if they bring back those 3, they'll probably also, and this is a school that's loaded in terms of money.
Loaded.
So they'll have the NIL to do this. They could also bring, what did you say?
Well, I was just saying, a lot of Northeastern money there. One of the guys from Apple went there.
Yeah, and they have they also have Jocelyn Bodo, who's a freshman.
Yes.
There, he's really good. This team is 321st to Division I experience. They could bring theoretically their entire team except for Bryson Childress, who plays 5.1% of the minutes back next year. I would rank them in the top 50.
In the Power 100 top 50.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think High Point across the board. It's they're the best team in the league.
Yeah.
It's not close.
I just saw what you DM'd me, Jonathan.
Oh, it was hilarious, dude. Send it to Pat.
What is it?
It's a tweet from Jim Root. That's all you need to know.
Did you also see that? You replied to it, but Pat, did you see the tweet where the guy posted the picture of the Villanova fan and said would, and then somebody replied and said saw her closer, you would not?
Well, how about the Providence fans the other day with the Marquette compliance officer?
Dude.
I mean, we talked about it in the group chat. What the hell is up with them this year, man?
The Providence Twitter, depending on your take,
the Providence College Basketball Church is unholy. The things they do there is foul.
Depending on your thoughts on this, they are either the best Twitter fan base in the year or the worst Twitter fan base of the year.
Jonathan, what were you saying?
What I was gonna say is, how about the Providence fans the other day could be used in like a billion different contexts on a weekly basis.
Yeah. Well, when Jalen Harrell, who I know he's from Massachusetts, like sick prospect in the class of 2025, sent his top 6 list to you guys. I was like, oh, big time prospect. You look at the comments, Fryer. There's 80 comments that just say the word Fryer, and then the other 40 from Providence fans are thank you. Like, they're insane. They're insane, but they're so fun. Like, I used to hate them. I
hated them 2 years ago when I thought their team was terrible.
I had them losing in the first round to South Dakota State.
Oh no, Pat.
That's the ultimate trap. That was the ultimate trap game.
It was. And Providence, luck college basketball. The analytics hated them, and they won every game. Drove me nuts.
Dude, we talked about that every day on the podcast that year.
It was so annoying. They kept winning.
It was like the number one topic of brackets, mobiles, and bid stealers 2 years ago.
Dude, they would. It's like one side of it was like, oh yeah, like watch them keep moving down in Ken Palm, and the other side was like, oh, what freaking problem is their home arena going to have today?
Yeah, when it kept leaking, that was awesome.
All right. We have more conference tournaments to discuss. The Patriot League okay, we really don't have to discuss this.
Matt Langle.
Is anyone not picking Colgate?
I'm picking Loyola of Maryland. Tavares Hardy, yeah. By the way, the only reason I know Tavares Hardy's name, he's probably getting fired soon.
Oh my God.
Coleman Crawley, the number one Colgate fan.
I think Loyola was going to open. I said yes. He's been there a while. He's never won anything.
What does your friend at Cal Poly think about the job opening?
Oh, he said he has no idea.
He goes in the chat and just goes, "This is important." It was.
The only reason I said that is because Sam was like, "Yeah, he doesn't care at all."
He goes, "I texted my friend who I know doesn't care, and he shockingly does not care."
Hey, there's a reason I texted it. If he cared, he would have texted me.
By the way, I know we're all picking Colgate, but like, and I know they've stumbled down the stretch here and lost their last four. But like,
they lost like what? They lost like twice?
No. I'm talking about Lafayette.
Oh no, Lafayette's not that big.
I wanted to just shout them out because Coach McGarvey was on the podcast.
Oh yeah, Coach McGarvey's great, love him, but unfortunately, I think their team isn't all that great.
Yeah, I mean they lost the finals. They lost 6 out of their last 7. It was a lot of close games, but regression hit them like a truck.
Every game is close. Their wins were close.
One thing will lead to another, and they'll probably end up stumbling into the Patriot League final again.
I don't know. We got that rivalry matchup in round 1, Lafayette Lehigh.
It's gonna be fun.
Shout out
if I were home, I would go.
Sam, you were texting me about Lehigh like last week, right?
I think they lost 2 in a row since then.
Well, so was it just like one of those weird things where the middle of the league's so close because Colgate dominates everyone?
Yeah. But like Lehigh had won 5 in a row after they beat Lafayette last week.
Yeah, that I knew.
We all know who Coleman Crawley is going to pick in this league.
All right, guys.
I think we all know who everyone's going to pick in this league.
Do we have any other takeaways from across the country? Alabama held a team under 90.
Princeton's awesome.
Yeah, Gonzaga's pretty cool.
Tennessee holding Alabama to 1.01 points per possession was the most impressive thing I saw today.
I thought Omar Stanley was the most impressive thing I saw today. He was all over the court. He is the best player on this Boise State team. And imagine if why can't St. John's get guys like that? He's not slow laterally.
My favorite thing ever is looking at St. John's last year and just looking at the guys they have. And the fact that Patino gets there immediately pushes all of them away.
Dude, like that team, like just take those guys, might be better than the team they have.
It's not might. It's not might. They would definitely be better than the team they have.
Well,
I don't think so.
What's the line, Sam? You made the sandwich?
Yes, you made the sandwich.
Lamont Paris National Coach of the Year. That unfortunately goes to Amir Abdur-Rahim. As good as
Lamont it does. Shout out to the American Conference.
Yes, shout out South Florida because South Florida today won their 14th game in a row. They are 20-1 in their last 21 games. They
least
won
favorite
the
player in college
outright
basketball,
American
sir.
Conference title. Do you know how much that would have paid out at the beginning of the season?
No.
I don't either.
My least favorite player.
All
in
I'm going to
college
say is they were my
basketball
sleeper in the
plays
league. So
My sleeper
I liked
on
them
radio.
too. My sleeper was North Texas, but I liked them too.
someone in this podcast had South Florida in their top 100.
You're gonna parade on that all year long as if you didn't have them.
Why wouldn't I?
Kayshawn Pryor on South Florida, my least favorite player in the country.
Why's that?
Where did that come from?
Because he's like an 18% three-point shooter. They come up to play Temple, close game down the stretch. He goes 4 for 5 from 3 and hits a step-back 34-footer to put the game on ice. I've never been more angry, ever.
Dude, he's a 39% three-point shooter in conference.
Who am I
play.
thinking of then? He wasn't 18%. There's someone that's remarkably bad.
He might have
And I was
been
getting
18% going into that game, but he
It
went
was.
4 for 5 in that game.
It was.
And
He's been money since. So maybe he was just off to an awful start in conference play. But I mean, I was furious.
So this is a college basketball podcast that has spent about 20 minutes of the 90 today talking about college basketball.
I'm going to be honest. It feels like we've been on here for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
We're halfway there.
All right. Other things I noticed today. Again, UMass isn't the team that nobody wants to face in Brooklyn. Highest Ken Palm for them since 2014. Shout out Frank Martin. Good win for Purdue against Michigan State. So a lot of people shit talking them on Twitter today.
Purdue or Michigan State?
Purdue, because they were losing.
Oh, big whoop.
Yeah, exactly. Shout out to the backcourt of DeJuan Gordon and Philip Russell. UT Arlington has won 5 in a row.
I knew you were going to find a way to bring them up.
Were you even watching when that bit was created?
No, I wasn't. But you were talking about it in the group chat today, and I figured once it was mentioned that you would have to bring it up today.
They're a bit now.
Pat,
It's
you
a
know
thing
who's
now.
currently the 4th seed in the ACC?
Yes, I do.
Pat,
Is
do
the
you?
Fourth,
Who's
the
the 4th?
fourth seed?
Yes.
Is it the Syracuse Orange?
It is.
It's the Syracuse Orange, baby. This
The
league
bubble-
sucks so much. If Syracuse can get Syracuse, all they need to do is beat Clemson and have, I think, Wake lose a game.
Hey, Jonathan, why don't you stick to talking about Missouri Valley Conference basketball?
Oh my God.
That was so uncalled for. And then he goes, what does that have to do with the original argument?
Having a picture of me earlier this year sitting 3 feet away from Judah Mintz was like the greatest thing ever.
Yeah. Judah Mintz, not even close. The ACC Player of the Year.
He would not be
that
on my,
guy.
Has he even been the ACC Player of the Week once?
Hold on. Judah Mintz, ACC Player of the Week. He was Rookie of the Week last year.
Yeah. Who's been Rookie of the Week this year? Braden Shrewsbury a few times.
I mean, Marcus Burton and McCain. Probably have like all of them.
Has my guy, Kerry Booth, done a whole lot? I'm going to hand up. I have not paid attention to Notre Dame basketball.
I think he's had a good year.
I was really high on him.
The
in high
projection's
school.
clearly there.
Oh, yeah. He'll be a great
All
NBA
right,
player.
we got to end this before any more bullshit. Let's be honest here.
My turn?
I think it's your turn, Jonathan. You can take
All right,
us.
if you came to hear about Tyler Self's job and where he's currently working, you came to the right place.
You can throw in a few, by the way, for this time.
If you came to hear about Wawa, if you came to hear about freaking Philadelphia basketball arenas, what else was there today? Holy
If you came to hear about John Gallagher, if you came to hear John Gallagher waiting 45 seconds, you came to the right place. If you came to hear about Horns Down, You always came. We can put that in permanently. If you came to hear about Horns Down, you came to the right place.
Could I throw one in there? If you
Go
came
for
to
it.
hear Sam Fetterman yell at me for calling him Caleb Love, you came to
I knew you were going to do that.
not a dude. He keeps doing
All right,
this.
if
It's
you
not fun.
If you came to hear about Caleb Grill and what he's up to and his whereabouts, you came to the right place. This is season 4, episode 50 of Brackets, Bubbles, and Bid Stealers. Yes, folks, we hit the half century mark today. We will see you next time.